on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Just to let you know, as always, this podcast is now part of the 90-Minute Football Network and proudly sponsored by www.pt-4-u.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. No Decker tonight. Dipped this one, didn't he, Besty?
What did he give a reason, or did he just say no, I'm not doing it? Did he not knock that kid over or something like that?
No, Decker hasn't knocked any children over. Decker couldn't get childcare.
Not this
evening. So Decker isn't here tonight, unfortunately. He only turns up when he knows we're going to get decent numbers, doesn't he? To be fair.
I don't think he just could face having to talk through that performance yesterday.
I tell you who did get decent numbers. Spurs.
Son.
Sorry.
Fair play. Did Mitrovic, to hear kind of his something like that, wasn't it? He's
smoking guns. They've got no idea what we're talking about.
People that have tuned in, we're having a conversation where Mark was doing this for some reason, and we're trying to figure out which footballer did that goal celebration. Mitrovic was that one.
He did the smoke.
Very similar. Shola's was that
one on the ceiling, mate.
Shola's was like something like that. It was very similar. Pretty the same thing.
Yeah.
I always thought Mitrovic was a bit more rude.
He has done that one before.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it because I'll get clipped.
Kind of did a little bit. Like,
did I? Yeah. My tongue stayed firmly in my mouth.
Shola's always synonymous with
the
arm
out the pat in the chest.
Yeah,
I like that, the guy.
That's the Shola for me. Like,
I'd like to see more of that.
Chest pattern.
Generally speaking, yes.
Yeah. Right.
I'm talking about Emil Heskey. Sorry, Chris. The one little chat about Emil Heskey. Shola was kind of similar in that he was never really prolific, but he was... my thing, and whenever one of our big goals goes on YouTube, Twitter, it's always Shola with the assist.
Shola with the assist.
Always. Like Supermax goal in the 74 Cup semi-final. It was Shola. Played the ball to Terry Hibbert.
It was always chest control.
It was shoulder. It was shoulder.
He passed it with his chest.
It wasn't shoulder. It was the CC goal against Chelsea.
CC.
Shearer's volley against Everton.
And Shearer's the one against Portsmouth. The one he broke
Shola.
Yeah.
Give Shola a statue.
All of them. All the goals, Shola.
He's got a whole academy now, like, to be fair.
Yeah.
The Newcastle.
Yeah. Right, let's get straight into it. Mark, I'm going to come straight to you. You didn't do the match preview this week. It was myself, Decker, Harry, and who else was it?
Ian? No.
I'm really sorry for whoever.
Scott?
Who that?
Daryl.
Sorry, Daryl.
It was Daryl.
Sorry, Daryl. So the four of us done the match preview, and a bit too much confidence going in that one from the other three. I expected a Newcastle United defeat, but not in that manner.
No, it was very reminiscent of managers past, and I don't mean the immediate manager past, even though that did happen at a few occasions. Pardew, very much. Yeah.
I think we had one down there actually at White Hart Lane. Well, it's near enough the same place, isn't it?
It's half of it or something. But
it was I'm sure we got 5 put past over there once. Fulham, I remember getting a couple of times maybe where Fulham give a good show in Palace.
Arsenal every year.
Yeah, Arsenal. But everyone basically at some point, everyone put a good few past down on Pardew Newcastle side. Like.
But it was one of those ones where it just seemed to. Every time they went forward in that second half, it just looked like they were going to score, and 9 times out of 10 they did. Not that they scored that many, but you know what I mean.
So looking at the start line of Besty, was there any one that wasn't involved that you were shocked? I know a lot of people were saying Bruno should have started that game. It's great saying that in hindsight, of course it is. But Eddie Howe did say in his press conference that it was basically how Bruno was feeling after the long haul flight.
Yeah, fair play as well. Like, I mean, after the Everton and Chelsea games, everyone was clamouring for Shelby to be back in because he was such a big part of the good run of form. And the defeats coincided with him not starting. So people were, will get Shelby back in, the top will be all right. But I mean, would Bruno have done a great deal that Shelby didn't do? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone played particularly well from the starting 11, the subs. It was just a poor game. No one really turned up. Matt Target, I put on Twitter, he seemed out of position all the time. I was like, for some reason. That hurts.
I'll not go there yet, but I think there was a reason for that.
He's going to have free reign tonight as well, isn't he?
Oh God, he is.
He's going to have free reign. We haven't got Decker here.
He was poor. So Maximum was poor yesterday again, though.
Yeah, well, we'll get on it. We'll get on it.
But no one did. I don't think anyone really got going yesterday. And I'm not too. I'm not saying I'm not bothered. Obviously, you don't want to get B5-1 any game. It just makes the Wolves game on Friday and Leicester coming up in Palace a little bit more important. I still don't think we'll go down. I think we'll be quite safe, but you'd rather have the points on the board early on. But then Tottenham are in good form. Tottenham are a good side this year. Since Christmas,
well, they're a bit up and down, aren't they? And that's the
the last two. Since Christmas, they've been really up.
But they've been.
The exception of the defeat to Burnley.
Yeah, it's been like they've won one, they've lost one, they've won one, they've lost one, they've won one, they've lost one. So you never know what team's going to turn, and that's the key thing, isn't it? Is when you look at it from that point of view, of that we're still, as much as I don't really think we're still in a relegation battle, we are still technically.
Yeah, we are. We're not mathematically. We're still a handful of bad results from being sucked right back in it. I think it's unlikely that those results would happen, because it's not just bad results for us. Bad results is in other teams picking up points where you wouldn't expect them to.
And that's the thing for me why I think we're probably safe already, is because I cannot really see those down the bottom putting it together.
Me saying I don't want saying that Tottenham are in a good side and good form and do it or whatever, to be like excusing what happened, because it was awful. It was dreadful. Tottenham are a good side. We aren't a brilliant side, and we played very badly.
Yeah.
That spell after we scored, they got that one immediately, which is a decent enough goal. But that second half just got picked off. Yeah. It was like a 15-20 minute spell, it felt like, which was the Pardew bit where it just felt like it was a spell where like all discipline had gone, all sense of any kind of organisation, particularly at the back, which can't all be St. Maximin's fault.
The shape was all over the place. They just every single one of the back four, the things that would been doing really well in midfield, like up until recently, just kind of evaporated.
I know the second half was a massive shambles, to put it politely, but first half wasn't that bad. First half, I think it was pretty even. First half, obviously we got the opener, absolutely fantastic strike by Fabian, and I think
Laura should do better with it, mind.
Do you think they're a little bit tricked that they think that Target's going to hit it?
I thought
Target was going to hit it, to be fair.
It reminded us a little bit of the one Shelby scored at Leeds.
I just thought it was maybe a little bit unsighted, because there was Wood and
trees.
I want to say Joe Linton maybe were standing side by side at the
pitch. Two broad lads, those two,
kind of at the end of the wall, and then they split last minute as the ball came through.
Because there was a spell where they thought with VAR
it came off Wood's arm or something.
So let's speak about the use of VAR once again. Apparently, it's only going to be introduced for clear and obvious errors by the referee. Should that have went to VAR, and should it have taken so long for them to see if it glanced and brushed off Chris Wood's arm?
It's something that they've done. Like, I mean, going back to the Tottenham, our first game down there. No, the game last season where we got the penalty for the handball by Eric Dyer.
Yeah,
that was that was VAR, and it wasn't a clear and obvious error. It wasn't a penalty. It shouldn't have been a penalty. Obviously, it was given. So for me, it's a similar thing. I think.
Well, I watched the match with Harry, and Harry said even if it has hit his hand, surely that takes the ball closer to Lloris in goal, so it gives him a better chance of.
Because he was the left of the two, wasn't he? So it would have went towards him.
Yeah, because it tucks in the corner.
Yeah, I thought we looked like it for offside to start with.
Aye,
because I thought they'd lined up behind the wall. They might not remember. Because then if he does touch it, it becomes offside or handball. Take a pick.
I thought they were looking at
free kicks,
getting in the goalkeeper's eye line. I thought that's what they're looking at.
Good friend against Joe Hart that time.
And I thought they were honestly looking at that, and I thought, well, they've made the wall. Surely we're allowed to stand on the end of the wall.
Not if you're offside.
Well, unless you touch it.
Mate, you can stand there as long as you don't interfere with play.
Is getting in the goalkeeper's eye line not classed as interfering?
Only if you make a movement for the ball, apparently. Which Chris Wood didn't.
Yeah, he moved away from it.
Out the way of the ball.
He was acting as a screen. That was his job. Yeah. That's what he was there to do. That's what he did. That's why he was scored. Thanks, Chris. Not you.
I was going to say, I don't know. But yeah, obviously, it's not long after, very, very quickly afterwards, Spurs go and get the equaliser. It's poor defending. I think it's Joe Linton's man that gets the header, but it's a fantastic cross into the goal.
It's a great ball in. It's a really good, but it's a good header. it's a good goal. I mean, not a good one to concede, but it's
It's a one where as defenders, because the first ball comes in, they'll get pulled out of position and stuff like that, and they just don't then recover quick enough to be able to pick up positions where they should be, and then that ball just comes into a very, very dangerous place, and he just gets a good that little glance on into the back stick, doesn't he? Which if he gets too much on it, it flies the wrong way, it goes over. It was going to be one of those afternoons once that one went in.
Yeah, was. We've got a question in from Josh straight away. Thanks, Josh, also for the donation, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks for donations like that. You get to see us in Ultra HD now, lads.
Was that right?
Aye.
I saw you for
Ultra
gleaming.
HD.
Yeah,
Gleaming today.
I've just got a shower for come out. It's a good job as well.
But yeah, this is why Decker's not here tonight.
Oh.
But yeah, Josh says, "Hey lads, hope you're all well. Disappointing result yesterday, but I wasn't worried about it. I thought we looked decent in the first half, and Alan St. Maximin looked bright. Shock horror, me praising Saint, I know. We'll get on to Saint in a little bit. I don't want to take too much time talking about Saint because I thought they were all pretty shocking what Besty said. Moving into the second half, Besty, I'll come to you, it just looked shambolic in defence. It looked like, and I said in the match preview, that I'm confident going into any game, and no matter who we are playing, that we will not concede a lot of goals.
Yeah.
It'll be a pretty.
So it was
close
your
game.
fault. Is that what you're saying?
Was it
Technically.
a stat came on just after half time, or maybe just before half time, about goals. We conceded 7 goals since New Year or something like that. It was like one of the fewest in the league, and I thought, oh, well, that's good. Like, what? And it kind of that obviously indicates or implies that
Hard to beat.
Yeah, hard to break down, hard to get on the back. But yeah, Tottenham just totally. They knew exactly what they're doing. That ball down our left, which I know Mark's itching.
I'm not
to mention, but yeah, that ball down our left. That's it. Target was caught out a few times there. The defense got pulled across. Dan Burn had to come over, and they left that gap in the middle. I mean, but then you look at that. I'm saying that, and that is what happened for a few of them. There was the one where Shea plays a ball across the halfway line onto was it Son's toe or Benton Kerr's toe? And I think that was their second or third.
I thought that was Target. Was it Fabian? I thought it was Target.
Oh, the ball came from right back.
Right, okay.
Because I thought it was Manquillo to start with. I put on Twitter Manquillo twice for that one because he lets him then cut inside for the header. But I think it was actually Shea playing the ball, and Manquillo lost his man for the header. So, but stuff like that, where you think, like, all the discipline in the world and all the kind of getting, playing in that role and being so well trained at your role. If you're making mistakes like that, then you're on the back foot to start with.
It just summed it up, though, didn't it? Like that, them sorts of errors, you can sometimes get away with them, but the way that they played on Sunday, they just capitalised on everything,
Kane and
every little thing,
form as well, aren't they?
And I mean, we're looking at it like when you look at their defence in your midfield, like from a name point of view and on paper, they're not like big names that you think, oh, they're going to be really good, but they just seem to have gelled. Like, fair play to the manager, he's got them playing.
Yeah. Wasn't good enough that week, according
at times, because as we just said before, he's every week Tino takes a dive. They're very much up and down.
Joe Linton there, it's
these ones, yeah, man. I'm sure that they're just too close, but it's just I don't know.
I'm sitting every week.
I'm more animated with my hands.
What are you doing to that?
Trying to stand it up. It's not working. Never mind.
Just
put that there.
Some respect.
There we go. But they just capitalised on every little thing that we did. Like every little error was punished when,
very much like this last 5 minutes or so. Yeah.
Anything else you want to break while you got me?
Very slipshod.
I'll move up here like this.
But you mentioned it, and it's a good talking point. So the push, Jordan on steaming in and absolutely flattening. Now, who was it?
Benton Kerr.
Yeah.
Absolutely flattened him.
Should he have been sent off?
Yes.
No, not him. The other fella. Put his head in.
That was him.
Was that him? Was it?
Yeah.
Was a little bit of an elbow going on.
That was him. So, I'm pretty sure he was the one where he just flattened Saint in the first couple of minutes, isn't it? He just believes it's not really his elbow, is it?
He leaves his
arm
up,
there, isn't it?
It's as much as of one as the.
It's a strong shoulder barge, isn't it?
No, he does leave his arm. It's as much of a one as the.
So stars like.
What do you call him? That Chelsea player that did it, Havertz. For me,
I'm
not saying I think the Havertz one was or that one was, but I think they should be talked about. His arm stays up longer than he's trying to hit him.
Say around the back of his head and neck kind of area, wasn't it?
No, it's clean the
behind
side
him.
of his head.
It was it was
Nice side of
it
his
was
skull.
Hold his temple, wasn't he?
It's like he's going down like that.
Oh,
He's
isn't it?
dazed. He's dazed. He
Is this
takes,
the one where he was down for ages?
yeah.
Getting
Like
treatment
in
and
the
that?
5th minute or something daft like that. That was early on.
I thought it was like in the back of his.
No, it was really early on. And I think that was probably a yellow card, if anything. But nothing got given. I'm pretty sure nothing got given. Didn't even get a free kick for it. But obviously later on, just before the half time came, you've got that coming together with Saint and what do you call it again?
Bentancur.
Bentancur. I don't know if I'm saying
Bentancur.
it right. I don't know if I'm saying
whatever
it
it's
right.
called.
There's every chance Mark's got us on this one. Like,
Yeah, God knows what he's called. But there's coming together, and he does that head movement, which isn't a headbutt, but you see players get sent off for it.
He has a head movement,
I remember
doesn't he?
yeah. Pepe Reino.
He has a head
James
movement.
that time. That was very
James
similar.
Perch,
Aye.
James Perch, Loic Remy, against Norwich.
Bradley Johnson. Just before Derby, that would have won. Like.
He definitely makes a nodding motion, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, that apparently that isn't automatically a red card anymore. I saw someone say on Twitter yesterday. Don't know if that's true or not, but this is what I read.
I don't know if he made contact, like, but he
He did make contact.
maybe so. That's maybe why
The
he.
reason he didn't make contact is because the other player, the Spurs, the one with the blonde
Emerson.
mohawk,
Emerson Royale. Yeah.
he comes in and pushes them apart as he's pushing his head in, and that's when Big Joe the shithouse comes in and sends a fucker back to
It's
Juve.
absolutely
It's
brilliant.
weird
that
because
bit.
your man Bentancur tries to put the nuts. Maybe he's a little bit loaded, a bit evocative, like, but he does the thing with the head towards the maximum.
Do you think he's trying to do that thing of where he, like, when you go like forehead
I
to
think
forehead,
so,
like
I think
push
so,
him,
yeah. But then
like Rutten Bulls?
Emerson Royal gives some Maximin a shove at the same time as Joe Linton gives Bentancur a shove. Bentancur hits the deck, and Joe Linton gets booked.
It was a brilliant shove, though, wasn't it?
It was tremendous, man.
The thing is that the two Spurs players come back at Joe, obviously thinking Joe's going to back off. Does he? Fuck. He's standing there saying,
He loves
"Oh, well
it, doesn't he?
like,
He loves
He
it.
does. I didn't know this.
Do you reckon he's hard?
Yeah, aye.
Do you reckon? Like a
Joe Linton.
nutcase.
And I've seen the veins in his legs.
Do you just reckon he's an absolute psycho?
Aye. I don't know what a psycho. I just think he knows.
His nails, like,
can handle
absolutely
himself.
nails.
Aye. He's Did you watch the video that Sean Longstaff mic'd up in
Mhm.
Dubai? The training video, like 20-minute long.
Yeah.
It was. And you see them. It might even, in fact, was it even on that, or was it just the training photos that I do? And you've got like, obviously all fit lads, and like they've got their t-shirts rolling my shorts up, and Jacob Murphy's like Limbard, lad, young lad, and Joe Linton's just like he's muscle. He's absolutely solid.
He's a beast, like,
He is, aye,
absolute beast.
Aye.
You don't grow up in the slums of Brazil being a little soft
How do you
kid.
know he
Was
grew
in
up
the
in the slums
slums?
of Brazil?
Yeah,
You don't even
this
know.
sounds-
He could have had a really nice house.
This is typecasting.
He could have had a hot meal every single night.
I'm just going with what I know of Brazil.
That tiny little bit.
They all live in what they're called, favelas. What's the word in it?
This is what we're
Favelas.
getting taken off for, not you doing the.
No.
It's him with these.
That's true.
And now
Favela, they all live in
They
favelas.
don't all live in. There are favelas in Rio and stuff.
Mid-
They don't. all live
Lots
in
and lots
favelas.
of lots of
All
people
them
in
English lads
Brazil.
eat cake and wear top hats.
In
Drink
Mayfair.
I'm sorry for everybody watching in Brazil that doesn't live in a favela. So what's it called?
Favela, yeah.
To be fair, I'm not sure that what the people in the favelas in Brazil would be sitting on a Monday afternoon watching
We're
this.
about 5-6 hours behind, are they? Would it be at work?
Now, are you going to say that Joe Linton didn't have any shoes as well? And like he used to play street football.
Well, there's a lot of Brazilian footballers didn't. They used to play on the beach.
Was he even from Rio?
barefooted.
I don't know, but
No,
Brazil's not just a coastal.
Is it not? Because Bruno and him did like a duo interview, didn't they, on Brazilian
uh-huh.
TV,
he
and
sang that
they were
song from his-
given
Diamond Lights.
they had to like do what do you know about where the other person comes from, and one of them came from Rio and the other one came from somewhere else that I can't
Well,
remember.
like Man House or something. What was that one in the rainforest where England played that in the World Cup? Right up in the northwest. But not Belo Horizonte.
Can't remember now.
No, I haven't now.
But they came from different parts of Brazil, and that's what they were trying to do. What do you know about
Interesting insight
each
into
other's parts of
Mark's
Brazil?
attitude towards South America. Here.
It's unfortunately a very poor country, unless you're into your recreational
Moving on.
medicines.
So Joe's push, absolutely fantastic. He is the shithouse that we have needed. He's the shithouse in Callum Wilson's absence. And I think Callum Wilson is the one that was probably involved in everything off the ball. He was always the first one there to defend his teammates. But it's now Joe. If it's not Joe involved in the instant reaction, he's the first one there to get a foot in. or a push?
He's just lush, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. What are you looking at there now?
I don't know where Jordan's from. He's not from. He's from Alianza in Pernambucano, 82 kilometers away from Recife, which doesn't appear to be anywhere near Rio or a favela or like.
No, I didn't say he came from Rio. That's what I said. So it must be Bruno that comes from Rio.
I don't know, maybe.
Moving on.
I'm looking this up. You two talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, moving on. But second half, that defensive line, and one of the players who I want to speak about, somebody that came under, he's had a lot of credit, and rightly so, from ourselves, from the rest of the Newcastle United fan base. Big Dan Burn. He looked off the pace. He just constantly looked out of position. Looked like he was getting rings run around him left, right, and centre. He just couldn't get a foot in that game.
He looked rattled as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
There was a couple of times where he was either he had one left in on him or he was leaving one in, and it just kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that affected his game, but he just didn't. He didn't seem as calm and collective as he has.
Booked for that thing with Kane, and for about 5-10 minutes afterwards, I thought he could be in trouble here. He's got to just have a word with himself.
Especially the one where it might have been on our friend Endecker again.
Where's he from?
Where he fouled him and then he was blown a kiss.
His, lineage.
Argentinian, isn't he?
I'm not too sure. I don't know.
I think he is.
Doesn't matter where he's from. What were you saying?
I'm saying that there was a moment where I think he fouled him and he was getting a bit of treatment, and then he started blowing kisses at him.
Yes, I saw that. I didn't see that. I saw that afterwards on Twitter. I thought I couldn't work out what that was in relation to, but
I think he was having a moan at him for the foul.
Now, this isn't the reason that we lost, but Tottenham did a lot of that yesterday. I thought there was a point when Joe Linton shoulder barged Kane, came in down, won a free kick, and he's chasing the referee to try and get him sent off.
Kane did that a few times.
And it's a shithouse thing that I don't like that very much. For all we've just been sitting here saying, he should have been sent off for a headbutt.
I don't think he did.
But Kane was really like.
He's a moany little prat.
It was not just that. He's trying to get someone sent off. Like,
it was
3-1 up or something.
Every time a player that had been booked did a little foul or something niggly, was straight away claiming for it, wanting a red card. Like
the thing is, though, we know this about Harry Kane, and yes, when he plays for England, fantastic. We love stuff like that because it's winning us games.
I don't like him.
Every time we come against Harry Kane, he always acts like a bit of a tosser. We saw it with the Lejeune tackle.
He broke his leg, didn't he?
That's a sending off all day long. We've seen it in the game afterwards. I can't remember what it was, but he done something ridiculous. And we've just seen it there where he's trying his hardest to get a player sent off the field.
He does it constantly. It's not just against us.
Yeah.
It's him. That is his game.
I like him as a player. And Chris, what you mentioned about the England thing, less so. Certainly 2016, the World Cup in 2018, the Euros in the summer just gone there. But the more I watch of him, the less, even for England, the less I'm enamored by him.
I don't like him at all.
I
don't like him at all.
Happy saying, I would. No, I'm not going to say that because it's mean. But if his career
would you like him to leave the country?
No. Just an awful injury in November. Ruled him out the World Cup, and maybe he's left him with a nasty limp for the rest of his life.
But other than that, you're all right with him.
Not wishing death on him. Just bad leg.
Is that because you don't want to beat Shearer's record? Because that's been a big talking point on the build-up of this game about Shearer's record and Harry Kane. If he doesn't get an injury like Besty is wishing upon him.
I mean, let's hope he doesn't, honestly.
Yeah,
really.
But I think let's wish him for a trip abroad rather than a bad leg and a limp.
I mean,
either or, to be fair.
He's had a good career. He's
well, Shearer got 2 bad injuries and he recovered.
No, he did. Very well indeed.
He did, exactly. Nobody makes a song and dance about that, do they?
No, they don't. That doesn't get mentioned.
Not a bad knee, can it?
Yeah.
Doesn't get mentioned when they're talking about this. But Josh Stockton has sent in again. You touched on this last week, but it's made me paranoid ever since. What do you think the owner's ambitions are for us in the next couple of years? Do you think they'll stick with Howe or be trigger happy? I hope Eddie Howe is here long term. I think we are all in agreement, and like Josh said there last week, we all said it would be fantastic to see Eddie Howe have a long career at Newcastle United, because if he is here for a long period, it means that he's doing well.
That's the thing, yeah. I'd be delighted. I'm not sure. I think I said that last week even. We kind of reiterated it. That's not changed for me. I like Howe. I like how he comes across. His baseball cap choice isn't always brilliant.
Look very similar to that one, eh?
No, these are more like the novelty
Less-
ones, like
less bulls on
you
it.
know
though.
the Homer Simpson kind of 10-gallon cowboy. Is a bit like
This
that.
is very large,
They're
isn't
too
it?
big. They're too big.
This is very big.
But yeah, I mean, talking away from kind of sartorial choices and stuff, and he's tasting chapeaus. I'd love to see how be here. I'd like to think that in 25 years' time he would retire and he's got all these trophies, and we're talking about him. That's obviously the best case scenario. We're talking about him like Alex Ferguson gets talked about, Arsene Wenger until it went south for him at Arsenal was getting, that's extremely unlikely just because of the nature of football. And I mean, Howe's never had a job like this before. It's one thing, and not to be disparaging, not to kind of be condescending, but he did brilliantly to get Bournemouth up from where they were, like bottom of Division 3 league, whatever it was, League 2. Went to Burnley for it didn't quite work out, but then went back to Bournemouth and kept them up, got them up, and then I don't know if he took them as far as I could. Had a lot of money to spend there as well. It should be. It's not just him being a super manager. The Bournemouth spent some money coming up, like so. There's that, and that was a kind of criticism made of him before, or when it was talking about him being appointed, was the money that he's in quotations wasted towards the end. Players that had gone to Bournemouth, and hadn't set the world on fire. Rian Brewster, I think, was one of his who did.
Got a couple from Liverpool, didn't they?
Yeah, I was in there, not happy. Centre half.
Solanke.
Dominic Solanke, maybe? Was a winger, wasn't there?
The one that went to Man City.
Wasn't it? Not Nathan Ake.
He's a defender.
Yeah. Man City went to Bournemouth and then Man City.
No, other way. Aye. Aki.
Man Nathan Ake, yeah.
That's who we're talking about.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean...
But striker-wise, there was two from Liverpool, wasn't it? Solanke and...
Rian Brewster.
Brewster, the other one.
Yeah. Because he's just started scoring goals. Well, not just started scoring goals. He's had a good season in the Championship for them, or a better season than Scott Parker. But I would love to see him. It's a bit kind of, it's still a pie in the sky at the minute, like, but I'd love it if he was here 5, 10, 15, whatever years, and he got trophies out of it, and that the fans, like, that was a sad day when he left, and that the fans didn't turn on him, because it does happen. Look at it now. We've had a run of poor results, if not poor performances all the way through. One, like, capitulation against Spurs, and people at the Twitter, like, again, the people lose their minds.
Yeah,
people go mad. People turn on each other. It's what I've noticed. It's not people having to go. People have a go with their fans. I've had someone having a go at me today because I said
probably deserved it.
I put the league tables up about Chris Wood.
The
day signed, and then 20 points later, where we are now, and it's like, and someone's having a go at saying, "Oh, that means that you want to be here next season. You're in love with him and all that." It's like, whoa, hang on. No, it just means that we have had a good run of form since Chris Wood signed, and it's mad how it's fans. They seem to turn on each other when it goes sour. I don't know if it's a societal thing. I don't know if it's just Twitter. Maybe Twitter's the reason.
I think it probably is social media. It probably is Twitter, because we sit here and there's only 4 that normally do this, and we disagree. Well, saying we, Mark and I disagree quite a lot. Yeah. But when you put X amount of thousands of people in that mix as well, that are constantly on social media refreshing it, and say opinion that you don't necessarily agree with, have a debate about it. Like,
I think that's the problem.
Stop trying to guess what somebody's thinking by a tweet.
It's the Ricky Gervais thing. I don't like Ricky Gervais, but another thing about the bicycles.
You always say you don't like Ricky Gervais, but you always got a nice tale to tell about him.
This is probably the only one, to be honest with you. The Office Christmas special was nice as well. But yeah, the one about I'm pretty super copyright. He's that much of a dickhead, like, so I'm not going to tell the whole story. But yeah, it's the thing about going on Twitter and seeing the sign for, you go into a market square and see a sign for bicycles, and you go and sign and go, but I don't want a fucking bike. And it's not. That's what Twitter's like. It's like people just can't just be civil and say, "Oh, well, fair enough." That's what I think.
I think it's enough guitar lessons that they say.
Might be
the guitar lessons. I don't want a fucking guitar lesson.
That's what it was. It wasn't. We're not to do with bikes. Yeah. But yeah, it's that. And
same sentiment.
Yeah, but I still think he's a wanker.
Who? Eddie Howe?
An afterlife shit.
It's not.
It's fucking rubbish.
You've never watched it.
I have.
Right. We're not.
When?
We're not getting on it. We're not getting on it.
Watch Lily's video on it. It's fucking.
Do you think if Eddie Howe has a bad run of form, let's say from now until the end of the season, do you think the summer comes along? Say we're still in the Premier League, but would just survive, right? So say we finish 17th.
Yeah,
right? But no, if we finish 17th, do you think the owners then go, maybe we need a change going into the start of next season?
No.
I'm not saying I want that, because I'm far from it. I definitely don't want that. But do you think pressure would be on the owners, because you know how active the owners are on social media?
No, I think to use a phrase from last Monday, Eddie Howe's got a lot of credit in the bank. I think he's got the support of the supporter base, and I think even if things don't go, to plan for the rest of this season, I don't think it's going to come to a point where there'll be a clamour to get him out of the door. Now, if that was to continue into next season, this is probably where I was going to pick up. The only way to going back to Josh's question is if he wasn't going to be here, as if we had a significantly bad start to the season and we went, something like a previous manager's run at the start of a season where we go through until, what was it, October time, November time without a win.
This season.
A couple of seasons back, I'll not mention the manager's name.
Was it the foreign gentleman?
He was. I think he may have been from the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
but it would take something quite significant, I think, to bring in those doubts about whether he's the right man for the job. And I can't see that happening. In all honesty, I think they've brought him in with the eye on the project. That's what's been mentioned. That's why I think he's there. That's why he's got my support, is because I can see what he wants to achieve for this club, and that goes hand in hand with where the owners want to take us. They want us to progress steadily and move up the table, improve everything kind of on the field and off the field, and take us to a comfortable position.
Do you think it's just a massive overreaction of fan bases on other fan base on social media?
100%. We've lost 3 games in a row. That's always going to act on people's minds. I think, are things going well? The manner of the defeat at the weekend obviously intensifies that, because we did get a good thumping. It's probably, certainly the second half is the worst display we've had under Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
There's been maybe 2 or 3 games where we haven't played very well under him. But when you consider that against, the managers that we've had in the past, it's been the opposite way around. There's been 2 or 3 really good performances.
In amongst it, yeah. It's, I mean, I could say if we finish the season on 31 points, but still stay up, then I think there would be a bit of a people go, hang on, that's 10 games, 12, 13 games in a row now. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but it's all through the season, people have said, particularly before had that really good run between Leeds and Southampton, where people have said Newcastle's running is really rough. You've got Leicester, you've got Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool,
Wolves,
Man City.
that?
Wolves on Friday night. It's not going to be an easy game. And you could have we played 29 now or 30? 29, I think, isn't it? We've got 9 games left.
5 home games left.
That was the 30th. I think that was the 30th game.
There's 8 games left.
Got Man City away, Norwich away,
Burnley
away.
Last game of the season. So, I mean, it's going to be a rough run in. We're not going to win. If it is 8 games left, we're not going to get, what's 8 threes? 24 points out of that.
And I think that, like I've said at the very start of this, as the 3 of us, but obviously when Decker had the 4th, like I said at the very start, we want Eddie Howe to be here for a long time.
Could this not be, remember what was asked last week, is Eddie Howe going to kind of throw the rest of the season a little bit, just to make it, give himself a bit more leeway next season? So if this time next year we're in 12th, 13th, they're going, well, having a good season, it's great.
Well, I've seen a comment, or it was either earlier today or yesterday. It was around, will the performance and defeat make Mandy a bit looser with a checkbook in the summer? Is it maybe a little?
It's not Mandy's checkbook at the end of the day, is it? It's PIF's checkbook. So El Grande Salmon says, geez, lads, he's had 20 games and his record is 7 wins, 5 draws, and 8 defeats. Double that, and we finish with 52 points. He's been terrific.
Yeah.
We're not disagreeing with that.
No.
We're obviously just having a discussion about the comments that you get on social media. Another one, Besty, I'm going to come back to it, but this one is from Adam Telford. It says, Besty thinks Wood is good, which is fucking mental.
Yeah, it was like Maracos earlier on. He was picking on Matty the other week as well.
So Kris Wood, to me, he's not a great footballer. He's not fantastic. He's not going to be here at Newcastle United for a very long time at all. Kris Wood was brought in to do a job in desperate times, and we knew he had that buyout in his contract. And since he's came in, yes, he scored one?
Scored one. Southampton.
But everything else which he's been involved in that run of 9 games, if he wasn't on the field, we wouldn't have had that run of 9 games.
Not at all. He's done really well. He's looked at the Leeds game. He was all over the defence about Southampton, the goal notwithstanding. He's not been It's weird. People
Would rather have Callum Wilson in there. Of course, I would.
Obviously, but people seem to equate.
You know what? I don't think having Callum Wilson in that team on Sunday would have made any difference whatsoever.
I'm not talking about Sunday. I'm talking
No,
about...
but that's the whole point around. People are looking at Chris Woodson. He's only scored 1 goal, and we've had this discussion a number of times, and I've sat and said it. Yes, as a striker, you're judged on how many goals you score in a season, but he's bringing much more from his performance to the team than that. He's running the lines. He's pulling defenders out of positions. He's bringing other people into the game. Yes, it's coming at the expense of him scoring goals, but he's key to the way we're playing football at the minute.
If you put Dwight Gale in, with no disrespect, I like Dwight Gale, but put him in that team, we don't have 31 points now. Anything like it. We don't have that run of 9 games, 10 games, whatever it was, unbeaten.
It's the same situation when we had Hosselu up front, we had Rondon up front. We've had umpteen strikers that have gone up front
Wilson at
and
times,
just
mate.
stood there by themselves with nobody anywhere near them, never gave them the ball, never got the ball anywhere near them, and then people say, oh, well, the striker's done nothing.
Yeah.
How can you do anything if you haven't got the ball anywhere near you? I think he had 1 chance on Sunday, which was a decent chance, and he did well with it. Obviously, he didn't score, but
I think
if you as a striker, if you're not getting somebody providing you with passes, with crosses, you ain't going to score.
I think we would as well. Come the summer, he's not going to be our
Not a chance.
main striker. Of course, he's not.
Well, that was all the articles that you read. They're saying that the striker is going to be the big one that they're going to go for. They're going to they've got whatever millions, 100 million out. It seems to be kind of floating around. I think it might be a bit more, which and everyone's saying, the vast majority of the money is going to go on a new striker because that's where Newcastle are. I mean, we're deficient all over the pitch, don't get us wrong, but that's where you've got to spend the big money. Chris Wood, £25 million, was it he cost? We got him from Burnley.
Yep.
He is a £25 million striker because that's how much it cost. In the same way as Joe Linton, I'd rather spend 25 million on Chris Wood up front than 40 million on Joe Linton up front. It's what 25 million pounds gets. In the situation we were in, with having bought him from Burnley and haven't got the release clause that they got, that's not a bad signing.
It's also the
he's done
double-sided thing of that in him coming to us, you're weak in Burnley.
Yeah.
And people talk about the fact that they then went out and brought what's it called, Weghorst. Weghorst. He's still scored 1 goal.
Yeah.
Had exactly the same return as Chris Wood has.
No, I mean I'm not saying that Wood's tearing up trees and that, but if you look away.
But if Chris Wood was still at Burnley,
yeah,
I bet he'd have scored more than 1 goal.
He scored 3 this season before he came to us.
Pass.
I think he had. So he wasn't setting the world on fire by any stretch of the imagination. But the way we got through this, I think what Adam was responding to my tweet was in relation to a tweet I saw earlier where someone says, oh, he's been a catastrophic signing for Newcastle and all that. And he clearly hasn't. A catastrophic signing would have been costing points. We wouldn't have been 20 points better off from where we were on January 13th had he been a catastrophic signing.
It's all the difference between being a fan and seeing that happen in real life. So Chris Wood coming in, and we've saw the games that he's played in. If you look at this in 20 years' time and look back as, let's say, a young Newcastle United fan coming through and look at Chris Wood, 25 million, he scored 1 goal. If you look at that on paper, you think, Jesus Christ, that's been a waste of money.
What's weird is I was watching it was a Premier League group, something from, it was Carl Court. I was like, his goal return, when you look at like what Hosselu got, what Chris Wood got, what Joe Linton got, it looks all right. Looks like a decent signing. Now, obviously, he was signed as not a replacement for Shearer, but I think was Shearer injured when Court signed him?
Yeah.
So he was kind of like the big man up front. It didn't really work, but we've had loads of them.
There's a couple of shouts for Daryl Murphy, similar sort of job.
He was excellent.
Difference was we used to cross the ball from.
Yeah. Now Murphy was we're playing against different teams as well. Like, I mean, Murphy did a great job in the Championship, but wouldn't be doing what Chris
it's strange as well because we essentially play with 2 wingers, but we play with 2 wingers that very rarely cross the ball.
Well, they're inverted, aren't they? For the most part, you've got free. Like
and when you've got somebody that's historically is big, good in the air, if you're not whipping crosses into that box, then he's going to struggle to get goals.
I don't think it's fair to. I think it is fair to level some criticism. He hasn't been wonderful every game. His touch seems a little bit loose at times. But
He's not a great footballer. He's far from it, and I think he, like what I've just said, he'll be the first one replaced in the summer. I'd be very surprised if he's not, because we've got a number 9 who can't stay fit, like at all.
That's a big worry.
I've got a feeling he could be away in the summer as well.
I think he'll be away.
I love him, but I think he could be gone.
We've got Chris Wood, and it was a desperate signing. No other football club wanted to do business with us for a decent price. And that's why we had to go out and bring a striker in, because we didn't have a fucking striker.
Yeah.
And look, he suits the way we play in trying to bring other people into the game. Again, the problem that we had at the weekend is that our forward 4 that kind of play in support of him didn't get anywhere near him.
Yeah.
In Fraser, Saint, and then Joe and other Joe. They just were never, those 4 were nowhere near him.
Just to wrap up on the discussion about that, Wood, Adam Telford's putting another comment in saying Wood shouldn't be here next season. I agree. I don't think half the team should be here next season.
He'll still be here. He'll be here but he'll be here in a support function. He'll not be our main striker.
He'll be a bum on the bench. That's what he'll be.
I think so. Yeah.
He'll be somebody to chuck on if you're chasing the game, you want a goal, or you want to tighten things up and just hold the ball up front.
Yeah.
Bring him on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you'll get a use out of him. The problem is we're trying to do that for 90 minutes of the game, of getting the ball into him and holding it up.
Scott has put in there, just look at 3 goals he scored for New Zealand last week, all of them headers.
Well, that's the other key thing is he's travelled halfway around the world.
Yeah.
In the last 2 weeks to play. He's scoring goals for New Zealand because they're playing to his strengths. We aren't. How do we expect him to score
because
goals?
he's playing against like Tuvalu and Papua New Guinea and stuff like that. Like,
there's levels to this game, isn't there?
But yeah, I think it's the criticism of him personally is very, very harsh. I'll reiterate, if we don't have him in the team, if it's Gale or Joe Linton up front, we don't get the points. We don't go on that 9 game.
Like, what is the alternative? If Chris Wood isn't in the team right now, what is the alternative?
You stick
he's the best option that we've got.
Or you see what we saw, and he went and put Saint up front, didn't he, for the last
Murphy was
15 minutes?
So that's what my point is. There's been a comment in here and a great comment saying, if you replace Chris Wood and put Saint up top, which we've seen, Saint gets pelted for not doing the work that Chris Wood does.
Yeah. Aye.
And as a lone striker, you've got to work hard. You've got to chase those nothing balls down. You've got to be prepared to have the ball hit at you and try and hold it up for others getting near you.
I remember games.
That's what he does.
I remember games where Shearer was up front of his own and he was isolated and he just couldn't do a thing. And now I'm not saying Chris Wood's as good as Shearer. Oh, given that he cost £10 million more, that means that he's obviously nearly twice as good.
We've sat here for what? How long we've been doing this? Years and years and years. And every striker we've sat and said, he's been massively isolated.
Yeah.
He's up front. He's by himself.
We've been.
That's the problem.
Do you know what it is?
Since I've been on this, we've been shite pretty much the whole time. Like so.
Well, this is what I mean. Like during the time when Joselu was our main target man, now a striker over top. There's that times you go, he's had a shot in game, he hasn't scored, he missed his chance. But then a couple of seasons after, you went, I felt a bit sorry for him, to be fair, because he was never going to
get the ball.
Yeah.
But it's the same. Our friend Slimany never got the ball.
Yeah.
Never scored. Rondon, first 6 months,
it took him ages to get going.
He didn't get going. He never got the ball.
That was quite 6 months, but it was
the first half of the season, wasn't it?
It was like November. They had the poppy kits, and he got a couple against. I want to say Blackburn, but it's not him. That was Demba Ba.
Header at the Leazer's end, wasn't it?
And there's been a couple of shouts saying that top clubs, modern day football, you don't need a focal point striker. They just don't have them anymore in these teams that are winning games.
Yeah, but
they top the league.
They play a very different football to what we do.
Yeah, of course.
That's interesting. That because you could look like Liverpool having like Salah's not a striker. He's a striker, but he's not a.
They've got front three, haven't they?
They've got Jota, Firmino, and Mane.
Inside left, inside right, and
got Mahrez, Sterling, Gabriel Jesus. Aguero wasn't like a. And again, it sounds. I'm not trying to compare Chris Wood to Sergio Aguero.
But whichever way they attack, if they go down the left or the right, you've got the midfield and that centre one pushing up into to support
Just to
them.
finish it up, I'm not having our words be twisted. We are not saying Chris Wood is the reason that we have been winning games. We are not saying, not one single person has said that around the table. The reason we're winning games is because Eddie Howe made that team a hell of a lot fitter than what they were previously. You had standout performances by John Joe Shelby, Joe Linton, Joe Willock improved. Our defence became unbelievable. Dubravka came better.
Yeah.
Trippier coming in, Target coming in at left.
Fraser.
At not one
It's-
point
and
has
it's-
anybody said, Chris Wood is the reason.
It's
for
an
we-
accumulation of
Is that
performances.
Aye. I'm moving on from Chris Wood.
That's
Um,
mad.
Chris Wood's mint. Keep
So,
him as my number one striker forever.
Just to go on, Alan Saint Maximum. Mark, I'll let you take over on this one. Saint Maximum said on that tweet that basically he's going to let his performances do the talking.
It didn't talk very loudly then, did it?
Is it because the rest of the team were pretty shocking? I think it's very harsh, and I've seen it on social media. A lot of fans just once again just throwing every single bit of ounce of blame at Alan Saint Maximum.
He wasn't to blame for that performance on
The standout
on Sunday.
bad performance for me, like I said earlier, was Dan Burn. That was a standout bad performance for me.
But
I'm not saying he's the reason that we lost that game either. It was a collective of all of them playing bad.
I think bar maybe the first half, Fraser did all right. Willock was invisible. I didn't see Willock at all.
Yeah, that's what
Joe-
was that one. Did he have a shot in the first half? Or there was one where he kind of got a shot with in that
Had a half chance, didn't he, before we
centre
scored?
half. It was a good
But-
block actually.
I didn't think he had a very good game. Joe wasn't at the races. He wasn't doing what he was good at. If that breaking up play from the front for us.
Is there an argument, Mark? Yeah, I'm sorry to talk across you about it. Just a thought I've had just there. Is there an argument that so many of them have played badly because of being set up wrong?
I don't think it,
So you level more.
I don't know if it was necessarily us being set up wrong. It was more we didn't counter the way Spurs were set up
Yeah,
because they had, like we mentioned, Emerson had the entire side of that stadium to himself.
I didn't
More
think much-
so over on the left was pretty much the same.
when we played them at St James's, Emerson was one who stood out to me. As I thought, I don't think much of him. Like, well, I thought he was really. They played well yesterday. He did what he had to do, didn't he? It was kind of
But he had a hell of a lot of space.
Yeah.
down that side, and this is something I said last week. And look, it's not just me saying it because even Eddie Howe said it in his pre-match conference on Friday around Saint Maximum. Is that yes, he can be a world beater on his day, but when things aren't going to plan, he needs to work on some of the other elements of his games. That's exactly what I sat here and said last week.
To be fair, he was passing the ball a lot more than what he normally
No,
does.
I'm not talking about the passing.
He was,
It's more.
And there was one time, and I know it was once, but he grafted his off back to get back, and he won the ball.
So he's capable of doing it.
He is capable of doing it. Yeah.
How didn't how
You just want to
also-
see it more often.
Did he also say that St Maximin does these things, and if you try and make him play in a certain way, it diminishes the impact he has as. So you want him to be.
It's
You
basically
want
the
him to have his
argument.
freedom. To
It
kind
was
of
the
express
argument we
himself
were
at
having
the
on
same
Monday
time.
night.
Yeah, we've had it every Monday night from 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
But it is when things aren't going your way, that's when you've got to knuckle down and work harder. And that was the whole argument last week, and I wasn't seeing it. And
Were you seeing it from the other side? Were you seeing it from Fraser? Because I thought it was a
I
bad
see
game
it.
from Fraser.
I think first half definitely. He obviously will work a lot harder than Saint Maximum. And look, I don't want this to sound like a Saint Maximum bashing, but because that's not what it's about. Every single one of them was bad, but when things aren't going well for you, you've got to work hard. You've got to graft, and not if you're not going to worry about what's happening down your side of the pitch and players that are flying down outside of you. That's where the worry is for me.
I thought Fraser had a poorer game than Saint.
I think he did defensively
For me,
better.
like,
Defensively
between the two
better,
of them, it's
but
not really.
there wasn't.
But you haven't heard anything from Fraser's point of view, because is that because we're used to seeing what Fraser can do defensively?
It's weird on the.
Did they have as much space down their left as they did down their right?
I think going forward that Saint was trying to create a lot more. I can't even remember Fraser having a touch of the ball, to be honest with you.
I can't even remember
It was
really creating anything
a lot of
down either side.
when they had that run at the start of the second half. Well, for the first 35 minutes of the second half, really, wasn't it? It all seemed to come down our left hand side. Every break seemed to be attack in behind St Maximin, because as I said,
It was constantly Emerson.
got pulled out an
Constantly
awful lot,
Emerson.
and so that's why you had Burn coming across. It was just honestly, I think for that many players to have an off day, I don't think it's down to that many players having an off day. I just think Tottenham had one number from the start.
Did yeah.
It was their formation.
Yeah.
They had, what was it? Was it Doherty playing on the left? He normally plays right.
Yeah, I think it was.
That's what it was. And Emerson, they were constantly just stuck on the touchline and just stayed out there. So every time the ball was switched, they always had a man just completely free. And that's where you need your wingers on either side, because otherwise your fullbacks are going to have two on them.
I think what you said is right, Earl. I think Tottenham were kind of greater than some of the parts almost. Where you don't think like Doherty or Emerson Royale, you don't get like excited. You don't think, I can't wait to watch.
Everything just clicked for them, and it worked very, very well for them.
Yeah, it did. They just thought the much better side.
I think that's why we then changed to the 5 at the back, which...
Well, we had 3 at the back first. Shelby dropped in at centre back, and Dan Burn went on the left.
Yeah. But
then
Murphy
we
came
conceded
out
again, and Eddie Howe shit his pants.
We had Murphy and
5
Taggart, didn't we?
Yeah.
On there, just to try. I think it was just to try and stop
so
that.
When we conceded the second, we went 3 at the back, and then it was Shelby dropped at centre back. Then you had Fabian on the right, and you had Dan Burn on the left, and you had the 2 left back and right back went further up the field. So technically had 5 in midfield at one point. Then at that point, that's when Dan Burn gets dragged constantly that left-hand side. We'll concede another one. Then that's when Chris Wood comes off, Lascelles comes on, because Eddie Howe thought, shit, like it's damage limitation here, because you knew you're not getting back in. At 2-1, I thought, we've seen it before, we might get back into this, we might nick it. As soon as that third goes in, and it's such an easy, sloppy goals to concede. There wasn't one goal that I thought, apart from the first one, that I would say, that's a really great goal, fantastic goal. They just like a hot knife through butter. They just slice that defense.
I honestly can't remember 2 of them, the goals. It just felt like a percent. It felt like watching the same thing on repeat.
There's one where it was the cross from their right, and Son kind of, which still, well, I don't know, but because they were saying, because he was obviously offside.
Yeah.
Whether there was any little touch on it, but they said there wasn't, and then he taps it in at the back stick, doesn't he? Son's, the one he scores is it's a good finish.
And David Eddie
sums ball straight through the middle, isn't it?
Spurs had 5 efforts on goals second half, 4 goals, 3 passes to play, and were top class.
Was that one at the rocket tip over the top?
They were absolutely, you said they were unstoppable.
The way they just passed, they just went straight through it.
When you've got Son, Youngmin, and Harry Kane in your team, occasionally, if they both click, and they have done quite often since Christmas, you're going to do that at teams. And we just happen to be there. And it coincided with us being totally all over the place, certainly defensively. It just happens sometimes.
One of the things which I noticed different about this game is that we're so used to controlling that game in the middle of the park, and we didn't at all. And we can normally control the speed of the game. And it just looked like at times when we need to slow the game down, we were trying too hard to go higher up the field. And that's when Spurs were coming back every single time and battering were.
It almost felt like, because we had that 3 in the middle, which, to be fair, would have been the 3 that I picked in the two Joes and Shelby. I would have picked them, looking at as much as I want Bruno, but the fact that he's been away on international duty and all that kind of thing, you've still got to think they're only just coming back from injury as well. I know we've had a bit of a break. They've been away in the sun and that, but we've all seen the video. They were bloody working hard over there. They were sweating buckets.
Oh yeah,
so they're gonna.
It's just a bad day at the office for me. Like that's all that it is. And it's just horrible that it came on the back of the 2 defeats.
Yeah, I mean, it's that whole thing of if it happens again on Friday, if Wolves put 4 past with, they start thinking like, hang on, something's wrong here. But at the minute, the Chelsea game, I thought we were probably maybe if not the better side, certainly worthy of a point.
Yeah,
Everton was. The second half was poor, and it was just weird with that fella tying himself to the goal post in 15 minutes of injury time. It was a terrible goal to concede, don't get it wrong, but extenuating circumstances, you could say. Terrible yesterday. And if Friday's a defeat wouldn't be the end of the world, because Wolves are doing well at the minute. They're hitting a good run of form. But if it's another shoo-in, then you start to think something's not quite right. And I'm not saying that that's a point at which you've got to get the bed sheets out and say how's got to go and all that, but something needs addressing, I think. But if we get a point against Wolves, a point would be a good result against Wolves. Every point you get now is a step towards safety, and it means that Everton, Leeds, Burnley.
Well, Everton play Burnley, don't they?
Wednesday,
this week,
Wednesday.
Big game,
which is a it's a bit of a decider down the bottom of there.
What's the ideal result from that? Is it
Draw for me, like.
Well, I was discussing this watching the match with Matty yesterday. Do you want Everton to get 3 points, which means Burnley are pretty much like staying in relegation, or do you want Everton to get relegated so much that you want Burnley to get 3 points?
It's the heart. It's the heart in the head, isn't it? It's heart in the head.
I'll draw. I want every team beneath us to draw every game that they play against each other.
Technically,
you're taking 4 points off.
Technically, they've all got to get a point in every game to get out and hope that everybody above them loses.
Yeah,
I want Everton to get relegated.
But it would be a Burnley win is probably better in the grand scheme of things because it
pressure on Everton
pulls Everton right into the shit.
They've got a horrible run in Everton as well.
But there's a great shout by Tobias there that says a draw because neither team get any momentum.
Yeah.
The draw's great.
But then, like you say, if Burnley lose that, the thing is I still think Burnley know what it's all about being down there. They've maybe got it.
El Grande Salmon once
got
again.
it to pull out of the bag.
Everton's running is horrendous.
They're not used to being down there. Like we've been, go back to the times when we've been. The first time we were relegated, we were always told too good to go down, too big of a team to go down. We weren't used to being down there.
That Everton team now reminds us a lot of that team. I said it earlier in the season. I've seen a few people saying it recently. It reminds us a lot of that. The Owen, Duff, Martins.
There's a whole. I mean, you just look at that the atmosphere that they've had in Goodison. It's poisonous there at the minute, and if they start losing a couple of games and that momentum is going, it's going to be hell on for them, and that's. Whereas Burnley, there's probably games where they think, oh, well, like they would have went to Spurs, like it swap positions and got to Spurs. Like, oh, we're expected to lose against Spurs, but we're then playing Everton at home or whatever. We'll win that one. So they've got the more of that mentality of the fight at the bottom of the table to get themselves out of it. I think than Everton would have, because look at the way Recalson went on and some of their players there. They just.
No, yeah.
I just don't think they've got the fight in them to stay up.
Ben Richarlison, he was at Watford when he went down, about 4 or 5 years ago. So he's experienced it before. Like he knows he hasn't been successful.
Did he have the fight to stay up though?
So our next 3 games, talking about the relegation fight. Yeah, we've obviously got Wolves on Friday. Then we've got Leicester than Palace. How many points again out of those? So possible 9, Bestie.
Palace is at the south. No, it's at home, isn't it?
Palace is at home. Yeah.
In fact, they're
all at home. All 3 at home. Yeah.
I'll take 5. The winning 2 draws, I'm more than happy with.
I know it'd take 5, but how many do you think we'll get?
I think 5.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
So not a single.
Which one we're winning?
No, I think we'll lose 1. We'll get 2 points for draw because we're. No, I think we're capable. Maybe it's 4 or 5. If we lose one of them, I think it would be. It's hard to say.
Palace are currently winning 2-0 against Arsenal.
Oh, they?
Bloody hell. Pat Vieira.
They're playing well at the minute. Palace, they are playing well.
I'll take 3 draws.
I think we'll get 3 points. I think there'll be 2 defeats in there. I think we'll get 3 points. So,
which one do you think will win?
Yeah, Friday.
Trent will be Wolves.
Yeah, just the first home game back.
They're the best team.
Friday night.
That's hardest.
Everybody straight out from work on Friday, full of the drink.
I reckon 4 points we're safe. Honestly, 4 points and
I think we're safe now. Like, to be fair,
I don't think we are yet, but I think it's all about the accumulation of points, isn't it? That's the thing.
It is.
I think 35 would be.
I don't think it's necessarily that we've done well. We've done reasonably well, haven't we, to get out of that position?
But I think massively well, yeah.
I think I can't see those down below us picking up a lot of points.
The thing is, Burnley play us last game of the season, so all they've got to do is pick up 7 between now and then. If we don't get any more, that is.
Every game, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But if
that's what I'm saying, they've got to pick up a point a game, essentially.
So that would be Newcastle going on a 10-game loss.
Plus whatever previously.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. So the next 7 would have to lose the next 7.
Oh, yeah, yes, beg pardon. Yes, you're right.
7 plus 3 equals 10.
It does. Is it not 8 games then?
Yeah, but they're the last game.
Yeah, I think you're pretty right. I've been sneezing all day. I've been very well, lads.
I've been sneezing all day.
Decker's on me bent over. Like he's not. Decker's a very good driver.
He's not.
We'll go for another 10 minutes. So if you do have any questions that you want to fire our way, go for it. So how many points do you reckon, Mark?
What, from the next 3?
Next 3.
4.
4.
4.
And who were those coming against?
Uh,
So who were getting beat off?
one of those teams.
I think Leicester's the one you've got to win. Like, not you've got to win, but that's the one we looked
Well,
at.
I think Leicester's. You don't know what Leicester's going to turn up.
Well, they got the point of Man U at the weekend, and then that's exactly
So,
that.
And same with Palace. Like Palace, you don't know what teams they've been playing pretty well at home.
Yeah.
I know they're
Away from home, not so much.
They're at home to Arsenal tonight, aren't they, as well? And they're winning that one. Away on the road, they've been a bit hit and miss. It's a long journey coming up here, but they're playing some nice stuff. They've got a good young attacking team. I think the way that we know we can play, of playing on the counter attack, they play pretty similarly. It could be a good game end to end, and we should have enough to nick something from it or get a result out of it. It just depends. That's football.
That's football.
That is football. Thank you, Larry Crompton, who has become a member.
Thanks, Larry.
Just now.
Thanks, Larry.
If anybody else does want to become a member, it helps us out massively. It's as little as $2.99 a month.
And thanks to our members, you get to see us in fabulous 1080p.
You do, yeah. So tonight is our first video in HD, full HD. You do get a lot more options as well. You get access to the Telegram group if you do become a member, which is always active.
Got to watch it in full HD. Are they obliged to?
Well, if on the YouTube settings, I can drop it down.
Depends on their bandwidth as well. If they've got poor Wi-Fi,
It's my waist bandwidth I'm thinking about. Some people
it's all right. You're further away from the camera today. You're not sat on the end.
I like it in the back because I can hide a bit more. It's awful sitting there. It's horrible. It's so exposed.
So Daryl is streaming commenting, lads, seen a lot of comments and tend to agree that there was something not right about the away end yesterday. It wasn't its usual self.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Obviously, we weren't there.
I've seen a lot of comments on it. Like,
Daryl was there. Daryl was there. Adam was there. Corby, who's also in the comments, he was there.
yeah, I see Mr. Corby with a toilet seat around his neck.
Did he have a toilet seat?
Yeah, a toilet seat around his neck.
Oh my God, Mark, what are you doing?
And a song dedicated to him as well.
For
wearing it, yeah. He's got a toilet seat around his neck.
Oh, right.
So I saw that video, but it's not Corby with the toilet seat around his neck.
It is Corby with the toilet seat around his neck.
You must have seen a different video.
He's not the first person with the toilet seat around his neck. Do you want me at Paulie? That's posted.
I was gonna say it must have been something to do with Paulie. That like that's aye.
There were some very drunk people in that video.
But I can't comment on the away end because I wasn't in it. Daryl, you're asking a question which you should be answering.
To be fair, Daryl, I've seen a lot of comments from
Alex Hurst on Twitter mentioned it. I forget who else did now, but yeah, I've seen a few people that
Tom Kris mentioned it as well. Those are a few.
Yeah, I think the thing is when you play down in London, you get a lot of people that are based down there, that live down there, that just.
Blame
I'm not going to name names here, but there's a lot of people that live in London that are fans that get to go to these games, don't they? But I think that the fact that people book the earlier trains down, maybe a lot of alcohol was consumed.
But surely that
before.
But we're just talking about the atmosphere on Friday night. And that's going to be because everybody's drinking a lot of alcohol.
And like the trains down, I'm sure we've played in London many times before. The atmosphere has been absolutely wonderful. It was half on a Sunday, so it's a strange one because I don't think there's anything kind of environmental, if you want to call it that, like about the distance they've travelled or how they've got there or the time of day or the week.
Maybe everybody's just stressed with the electricity and gas prices at the moment and petrol, and they just went wild.
Never far from my thoughts, I can tell you.
I've turned my thermostat right down.
Amy's kind of she's normally like have a radio in the kitchen pretty much all day.
Oh.
That's not happening anymore.
Well, I've started. I normally, when I'm working from home, I'll have my Alexa on or the TV on.
Yeah,
that's not happening. It's on me.
Have you started
on me computer while I'm working?
Now remaining fully dressed when you have your lunch, just to keep
fully dressed,
to retain that heat.
T-shirt and hoodie.
It's
jacket, the lot.
Spilling soup down yourself.
Soup everywhere.
You know what it is?
Cold soup though. You won't use
I was warming my soup up by candle. It takes fucking hours.
Is that like a thing? If you slap a chicken hard enough, you can cook it. You seen that?
Oh, through force.
Through force, but you'd have to hit it so hard that you die basically. So stick in the oven.
Do the lot.
So Mark Corby, he did mention the toilets. He did get passed onto his head. Caught him off guard apparently. But he also says the way end was crap. People seem more interested in stopping on the concourse. White Hart Lane is a nightmare to get to as well. It's not White Hart Lane, mate. What is it?
Same
Tottenham
place,
Stadium,
Hotspur
innit?
We've got a nice big Sainsbury's there.
Yeah.
As well, now.
It's basically
It's the
half
same
of it,
place.
2/3
It's
of
the
it, isn't
same.
it?
It's like
They've
if
just
we
built
say-
it over the top.
It's like if we moved St James's Park now, we're talking the other week about I
Sideways.
was talking, it's the same kind of thing.
They just moved it slightly into Leazer's Park.
He said
No.
perhaps expectations have increased since the good run. We mentioned this last week, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I saw George and I think Kris from the Athletic put on this week saying this used to be the Tottenham getting B5-1, and that was what we used to expect pretty much for a long time. And now it's become, hopefully, it appears to be becoming the exception. And it's just not as pleasant when it happens instead of when it happens all the time. I remember I mentioned last week the Wolves game, I think 2002-3 maybe, well, last game of the season, I think we drew 1-1 or 2-2, whatever. And they did the lap of honour and would qualify. I think we finished 3rd or 5th that season. And people didn't hang around for the lap of honour. And it doesn't take long for your expectations to kind of to mean that you're easier disappointed. And I mean, I'm not saying a 5-1 defeat against Wolves or something that should be celebrated. Far from it. But like, it's not. I think there's going to be a lot of this as we get better. I think the defeats are going to hit a bit harder for people because this isn't what was sold. This isn't. We were meant to be brilliant by now. And I think it's going to happen. It's already happening. But there again, I was watching it. I kind of followed the game on Twitter yesterday a lot, and a lot of. I'm not saying that every criticism of the team's wrong because I think I saw every player on the team at some point picked out by different people for playing badly. And everyone was right what they were saying, really, in that regard. It's afterwards when people turn on each other, people having to go at fans and for having a different opinion. It's just strange. It's strange.
Everyone was shit.
They were?
I disagree.
I don't think
I thought Bruno was all right when he came on.
I still think Bruno looks at times, and I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying he's a fucking. At times, he looks a little bit lost.
Is Bruno the reason why we're losing games?
Yes. He's the reason that Kris Wood hasn't got 20 already. No, he looks. No, I think he's going to be a fantastic player, and he's showing signs of it. And there was Opta or someone put a thing on yesterday, and Bruno's stats against Tottenham, and like you look at him and think, actually, he's done well there. Like out of context, and I think that was great. But I still think there's times when he puts his foot in the ball, he wants a bit too much time and stuff, and that'll come. But there's times where I think like he's just not. You know how Howe's kind of waited a little bit to put him in. I think he was doing the right thing there. I think that was a smart move.
Just blooding him, easing him in.
I think give him the preseason, get him going this year. Obviously, the World Cup coming in the winter. I think you'll see maybe a more rounded, just a better player.
There's a great shout by Mark.
I think he's an excellent player now. Don't get us wrong.
That Mark, I'll put it on the
100%.
screen there. He says, by the time Bruno came on, the majority of the team just looked deflated.
Oh, yeah. I was certainly deflated. Not literally. Far from it. I'm doing the opposite. I mean, inflating.
Right. I'm going to call it a night, boys. Unless you have anything else that you would like to add.
Saw a really big bee last week.
Did you? How big was it?
You know,
That's a good sign.
when you see a bee and you tell, there's a bee there. And then you see a big bee. And you go, oh, man, there's a big bee, that. This was like, fucking hell, that's a big bee. It was like 2/3 the size of a golf ball. I would say.
In on bee.
It was massive. A big black bee. It landed on my shoulder. And I'm not like scared of bees necessarily.
Did it worry you?
I got stung by one once. I was at Glastonbury wearing an Argentina shirt at Glastonbury. It stung down my collar. And I was like, I can't. If I try and take it off,
on the outside?
on the collarbone,
All
I
right.
flew away and it perished. But like this thing landed on my shoulder, and I thought I was doing this, and I thought if it goes down there, like we're both in trouble. So it was my neighbour that was collecting. He was getting deodorant delivered. His boyfriend was getting deodorant delivered, so he's kind of our Stephen's got this. And lovely lads, and I was like, I saw his massive bee floating around, and I thought, I'm not really scared of bees, but I thought like,
It's twice you
This
say
is
he's
a-
not scared of them. I think
this
he
is
is
a concerning sized bee, but I don't want to look like I'm scared of it because I'm not. I'm not scared of it. Right? I'm not. I don't want.
The
I'm
lady
concerned.
doth protest.
So it was kind of flying around my head a bit, and I thought, now Alan here knows that there's a bee flying around my head, and he knows that I know that he knows that there's a bee flying around my head. But I don't want to kind of start flapping at it because the worst thing you can do with a stinging insect is just like, it irritates and they're going to come and get you. So I thought, what do I do here? So I kind of wait. I thought, I'll let it'll go. And I heard it stop. And I thought, well, that's,
Did you feel it
I
landing?
felt it. I thought, that's honest.
It's that heavy.
It was all right. Like, when you're like, you're carrying like a melon
like
on
a
your
parrot.
shoulder.
Did you start going, arr?
I thought my t-shirt started kind of pull a little bit because it was, shit, that bee's on my shoulder. And
Maybe they just wanted like a little glass of sugar water.
well, we've got
to help it on its way.
tulips by the front door, like, so we're quite a bee-friendly household.
The tulips and daffs are out at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got some daffs in the back garden, nice.
My hyacinths came out at the weekend, smell lovely.
Oh, lovely. It's a nice time of year. I've been getting my walks quite a bit recently, and there's loads of lovely cherry blossoms.
That's why you
there.
won't stop sneezing, mate.
I got tested years. In fact, I've got to get tested again. I think because it's really bad. Every now and then I get a really bad day. My allergies. Allergic apparently to animal dander, which I knew was saliva, dust that I knew about, and grass. Well, I'll go to festivals every summer, except this summer, tears. And I was a goalkeeper for 20 years, albeit not a very good one. Although having said that, because I was a very poor goalkeeper, I spent a lot of the time on the grass, and I've never had a reaction to it. It was only I got blood test on grass, but then I'll be fine tomorrow. It was like I've reaction. It's weird, but yeah, bees. This was a really big bee that I saw.
Very important creatures, bees.
Well, hugely
Protect them.
Massively so.
Protect them at all costs.
This was an all black bee now, Mark. I don't know if you're
a fully black bee. She was a
young,
bee and wasn't a beetle.
with one Ringo. George, that's not
George Paul.
Any better. But
Never stand up for it.
Allegedly.
it was a large winged insect. It certainly wasn't a fly. It was too furry to be a fly. Flies on.
Very black.
It was a bee. It was certainly a bee, but it didn't have the yellow bits. Didn't have it. The young bees, does it take a little bit of time for the yellow bits to?
No, they've normally got yellow and white.
Is that from the get go? Is it?
Yeah.
From the larvae stage. This was a fucking big bee, mind. Like I say, I'd say without exaggerating.
Was it long or was it fat?
It was fat.
It was fat.
It was a solid.
Are you
A proper bumblebee.
100% sure that it's a bee?
Yes, I'm absolutely convinced it was a bee. Yeah, I'm sure you get plain black bees.
Maybe he's been on his holidays. Go something.
Right, but yeah, I think
It's been a Rio, has it?
I think
Beautiful fellas.
I think we found out that we are a pro bee podcast now.
Very much so.
Love
Look after
bees,
the
mate.
bees. Don't hurt the bees.
Pretty sure I would reciprocate that as well. Like,
Yeah.
Decker's a friend of the bees.
We'll speak on Decker's behalf.
Bee hog.
Be a friendly podcast. Protect the
I reckon he
bees.
would swap them, mate.
Home the bees. Don't hit the bees. Don't run away from the bees. Do what Bessie did. Be scared of the bee, but don't let the bee know
Feed
you're
the
scared
bees.
of the
Wasn't scared.
He was scared of the
I
bee.
wasn't scared of the bee.
Terrified.
I was wary. I was respectful of the bee. Very respectful.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your week.